Hello and welcome. My name is Escali and this is my channel and this is my video, obviously because you're watching it. If anybody does watch it. Anyway, sorry. So, what is this about? This is going to be a video to explain how I built or how I came to build the Eternal Glaze. My submission for XCaliber's Designers Challenge for June. I have to say I struggle doing conventional builds. I find doing stuff like this a lot easier, but I don't have to conform to um, the standard kind of build. What I mean by that kind of the conventional thing, like the shape of the Star Destroyer or uh, the Enterprise, or or the Expanse stuff, or Jeff's Overseer. What I mean by Jeff's Overseer is a bad example. That's so unique. But hopefully you you'll get the point. If you know my stuff, that'll make sense. Um, I know this isn't conventional, uh, but I find this much easier to do than stuff like that because I don't have to conform to any particular rules. If I want to put, say, this shape here, I can just go ahead and do it. You know, there's no rule saying I can't. It doesn't have to be joined up with anything. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to look nice. And it's easier, kind of, maybe, to put shapes together which might look okay. Um, as it happens, this bit you're looking at right here, I don't happen to like. The rest of it, I like, but that, no, I don't. By this point, I just wanted to get the damn thing done. But it's okay, it works. Now, in terms of the teleporters, I might have to have a look. Um, because you can't use those. But if you go to the others, uh, here's a teleporter. Here we go. So this is where the teleporters failed in terms of, and it works. It's just that teleporter on the bridge doesn't work. Don't know why. But yes, internal teleporters are a thing. You can code them up in creative. The way you would do it would be the device name, which would be, for example, portal 1. Your device name is just these things right here. So you just go in and call it whatever. Say that was called portal 1. And then you do at Eternal Glaze. Now, that is your name here. If you change this name, but don't update that, it'll break, basically. But that is what you would enter. Yeah, so I'll do portal 1 at, and if I had one called portal 1, which I don't, and do set, I then went out God mode and got it to work, it would work. So anyway, internal teleports are a thing. They work now. Highly recommend it. Very cool. But yes, so this video, I hope to show you my progression as to how I've come to this, because I've had the idea of something like this for a very long time, and it goes as far as back as this this monstrosity of a tank here, which I think was my July challenge entry last year. Um, the Mangler is legacy now. Doesn't really work. I don't like that blue thing there. It looks a bit dated. Um, but the idea of this one is I wanted to do a HV where ball's completely open, and it certainly is open. Uh, but the user was uh, player was protected. I mean, yes, there are spots where, if you're lucky, but the chances of getting shot by a missile here are, or a, it's not going to happen. So that was the idea, and I think I was a bit dubious when I submitted this. I didn't think people would like it, but the response in the stream was amazing for me. I didn't think people would like it, and they seemed to like it quite a bit. Um, so this kind of made me think it'd be nice to take this concept and go further with it. Now, the end concept, in one respect, from here, is that the Eternal Glaze. So how did I get to that point? Yeah, let's give this a try. It's going away from this concept a bit, but the way I built this was, you can see there's a lot of copying and pasting going on. There's a lot of the same shapes being used. And these aren't complicated shapes. They're pretty basic shapes in comparison, not like the Eternal Glaze over there. But I just kind of, I didn't really think, there wasn't much thought put into it. It's kind of, I need something here to block the player from getting hit. I need something there. Okay, let's have one of these, that'll do. Put it to the other side to mirror it, and that's two sides done. Um, so then, after a time, I started building the Kavak stuff. End result, this bit. This happens to be my main T4 tank. I don't have many tanks at all, to be honest. So like how I built this one is in the designer's spotlight. No, XCaliber did. Um, I build a frame. Worth noting, I don't build a frame for the Eternal Glaze. But how I build a frame, I don't particularly think. I'm just putting one block in front of the other, like that. I know how the transitions work, and I'm just kind of, I've got symmetry mode on, and I'm just putting something together. It's, uh, that's basically all it is. I haven't got an idea in terms of a shape. I might have a vague shape of a frame like this. It didn't turn out anything like what I had in my mind, but you know, I stuck with it. Um, it's a HV, so I put on kind of basic stuff to get it moving. Then I added some more bits to it, as you can see. And again, um, I'm just putting stuff down. I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just trying to put stuff onto it. And I keep on going in terms of that. Trying to get this. I don't like clone chambers and HVs. They're a pain in the ass. They're far too big. It's kind of, you can't protect them properly. I find it difficult to do internals for HVs and SVs. That's why I rarely do them. I'm just not very good at it until I get to this point. So, in terms of the progression to the Eternal Glaze, this is important in terms of how I've done it. I've basically done the Kavak Nectar without really thinking about it. I've had a vague idea, and as I build, I get a slightly more of a clue as to what direction and how I want to build it until I get the final result. So that concept is the same as Eternal Glaze. That's why these are in a lineup in terms of how I built the Eternal Glaze. Now, for the February challenge this year, no, it wasn't a February challenge. No. Last year, November, October, pass, I don't know. But one of the challenges last year was to build a HV of some sort. I can't remember the exact brief. This was the first version, the Mutilator. Don't like it, didn't complete it, still don't like it, still won't complete it. But it's open concept. So it's taking the Mangler and just going with it to the extreme at this stage. Um, Again, exactly the same concept. I wanted to make sure the player was safe, but could basically get to it from any angle. I just don't happen to like it. So I started again, and this is what I built. These these two ended up getting submitted in the February challenge for this year, I think. Um, and this is a workable. It's a T3 tank. Hasn't got the most amount of turrets on, but it works. So again, you can see it's open. I'm going for a particular concept. Um, Again, this concept is pretty much is open plan. Eternal Glaze, definitely open. Hasn't got any proper walls. Um, this was meant to be the SV that would carry that HV, but I never completed it. Don't particularly like it, to be honest, and probably will never complete it either. Now again, those don't bear any resemblance really to the Eternal Glaze, but the concept behind the Eternal Glaze is right here, basically. Um, so this is where we jump to the Tresari stuff, which is linked to the scenario I'm building, of which this plateau is going to be a starter for that scenario. I did this SV, and I just called it the Tresari Raider. There wasn't any thought behind it. Um, and it's done rather well. It's got over 500 subs, which for me is mind-boggling. I don't really get how it's got so many. It's got like 50 odd likes on it. I forget how many favourites, but it's got a fair few of those as well. People seem to really like it. It's my only SV which has stars. The Eternal Glaze has some stars as of yesterday. Woohoo! Thank you. Um, so because people seem to like it, I had this idea for this scenario, and I thought, well, for this scenario, apologies, people want to see stuff. So I thought about doing a race, which I decided to call it Tresari. So that's how the race has come along, and I've got some lore for it. I've said what some of the lore is in the PUI Builders Club channel on XCaliber's Discord. And Eternal Glaze is a civilian CV for the Tresari. Um, so in terms of where that's come from, in one respect, this is another part of its genesis, where it's come from. So going from here, and this is the only bar I'm mentioning this, we come to a very important element, which is this, the core. The core of the starting point of the Eternal Glaze is this. It is precisely this, in every conceivable way, including that starter block. So this right here is the start of the Eternal Glaze. This is what it looked like in day one. But I created this some time ago. And at the time, I just wanted to make a fancy core room. Like you can see, the core is safely in the middle here. I just wanted to do a core room. That was it. Nothing else. But then I really liked it so much. I wanted to put something around it. A CV, basically. So I started working and put stuff on here. And people might be familiar with the screenshots at in the Discord for this. Sometimes I think I post way too many screenshots, but it's just useful to know what people think, whether they think it's no, that's shite, or that's not too bad, keep on going. That's why I do it. Um, so yeah, I just built around it. Obviously, this bears no resemblance at all to the Eternal Glaze over there, but you can see how the core's been used. And I just added stuff onto it, like I've got these bits here, fuel tanks and so forth. The boom of the CPU boom is coming along. But by the point I did this bit, I knew this was going to be huge, because that is quite big in itself. Some CVs are less tall than that, and that's just a CPU room. Here is an important stage, and this particular bit, you've got the shield here on its side going this way. Bear in mind, this is the front right here, and you can see I'm trying to make some kind of tunnel. And I've got the warp drive right here, and that is the direct inspiration for the Eternal Glaze, where I have the shield in a tunnel, if you want to call this a tunnel. I call it a tunnel. And then you've got the warp drive here. So in one respect, you could call this the Mark II of that insane thing over there. But going back to this, um, so you can kind of see where certain elements have come out and how all these things have played into the design of the Eternal Glaze. Yes, but it is quite extensive. I've done a fair bit. But again, this is, by this point, I know this is going to, I'm actually a bit scared in how big it'll end up as being. But I'm really liking what I've done. Oh, yeah. You can see a bit, as you can see, it is not textured. But I still don't know what the CV is going to end up looking like. I'm just putting blocks and I mean, just because I put a block down doesn't mean to say it's going to stay there. So there's a lot of changing things around, swapping things out, trying new things, and so forth. So this is where I've fully enclosed the core. Kind of. Is actually getting there, like. So now this would be a core room. But look at the size of it, like it's just obscene. I did a construction area as well. I actually really liked it, so I'm going to have to use this for something. For advanced constructors, 320 extenders all the way down. So this is where I kind of put the hangar together. And these have been put together for the Tresari Raider, so that Tresari Raider SV can go up here like this and out and so forth. And by this point, I've got a name for it. It's a Tresari Harvester. Part of the lore of the Tresari is that they've gone to war with the Polaris due to an unfortunate misunderstanding of which they've ate a trade envoy. So they built this ship essentially, blah 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 blah. In terms of it is progression, it gets a bit more. It's a military ship, and the idea is that the Eternal Glaze is civilian, so that has one particular style. The military versions, dink, have a completely different style. But I've had a change of direction on that. If I hurry up, it's up a bit now, because I don't want this to drag on too long. You can see I'm putting together the hull, but it's obvious this is big. This would be longer than by far than Jeff Randall's Overseer, it'd be huge. And that's one reason why I'm never going to complete it. Which is a shame, but I can incorporate parts of it into other things. Now, one of the things that I've decided upon is that the Tresari love this block right here, corner C. So you can see that corner bit being used a fair bit in the shaping, and it's definitely used in the core, which is right here. So that's so I've decided any Tresari CV has to have that corner C shape. So that's one requirement right there. But in accordance to all this, I still like the core. I've abandoned that at this point, decided it's too big, never going to complete it. I'm concerned in terms of how boxy it is at the moment. But I like the core, so I turned it into a flying core. This is actually in the community Bluepoint channel. It's got no storage, it's got no purpose, it's just blocks, a fuel tank, generator, thrusters, and a captain's seat, and that's it. Nothing else. So by this point, XCaliber had his challenge, his June challenge. Ooh, here we go, over here. So the starting point of the June challenge, we're bang up to date now, is that, as I said, that's exactly the same one as what I used in the Tresari Harvester. That's where it came from. I really loved this core. I wanted to use it. So this is where kind of, in the first day, that is what I had. I think I got very lucky in terms of what I happened to do. You can see it's exactly the same core. There's not one iota of it has been changed. All I've done is just extended, like these bits here, is just a natural progression really of those bits. You know, these bits here, and how I've extended it in terms of these bits. I want to use the corner C a lot, so I've chosen on that, and I've played upon that, and that's kind of how the shape has kind of come about in one respect. You can do some funky stuff with that shape. So again, you can see kind of the warp drive is in a similar spot from that other CV. Yeah, the shield as well. I've already got the storage down by this point. Now for these bits here, all I've done is essentially my mouse is a bit dodgy today, so apologies. I've built out a bit like there. I've just played around. Right, and I just do something, and if I like it, I'll keep it. And I did this bit here, so I thought, well, what happens if I reversed it and put it together? And it turned out okay. I did these bits first, and I put this shape here together. Just that shape. That was it. Nothing else. just that. I think those pointy bits came on at the end, so the original shape um, was that. So I kind of thought, well, that's not too bad. I wonder how it'll look doing a circle of it. So that's what I did. I turned it into a circle, um, as much as it is. There we go. Um, and the result was just one of these segments. And I liked it. So I copied and pasted it several times. And the result was, as you see it. I liked it. So I kind of kept it. I added a bit things onto it, like these, those there. Um, and that kind of added a bit to the shape as well. It wouldn't be the same without those. Um, but by this point, I knew I needed a T2 extender, so I wanted to cover it. So I built that. I've been experimenting with circle stuff basically. So I liked it, so I copied and pasted it. I still didn't have a clue at this stage in terms of what direction I wanted to go in, how extensive I wanted to do it. Let's get rid of these things here. There we go. So I did a bit more on it. Yeah, you see I've finished off the edge. Like I wasn't sure how wide I wanted to do this. Um, you can see here I put in the T3 extenders right here. Well, those aren't there in the final version. They are in the tunnel over here. At least I think they are. So in the later version, no, I see, you don't have those. Like you see those here, and that's a good example how I've been doing it because I actually liked this. So I think let's go over here. Do, 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 do. Yeah, there you go, right here. So this is the T3 core right here, and you see those curved shapes here, 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 and here. So I had something, like, apologies for the zooming around. I liked that shape, but I didn't want it there. I kind of extended it out here a bit and just put that shape together and put it inside here basically, and that's precisely what I've done. Um, and that's a good example. I put something together, I liked it, modified it, stuck it in, and that's basically what I've done for the whole thing. And that's how the whole build has progressed. This is almost finished here. I haven't done the front. Now, in terms of the front, I don't happen to like the front. This bit here, I just don't like. But by that point, I had just kind of, yeah, I just had enough. It kind of works. It's a bit too simple for my liking, that head, but the rest of it, I like. I wouldn't change a single bit of it. Um, yeah, and that's the end result basically. So that's essentially how the Eternal Glaze has been put together. It's been a progression of sorts, dating all the way back to the manga. I've had the general concept idea in my head all that time. But if I tried to do this all the way back then, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Um, you just get to the point where you know. Oh dear, hang on. Sorry. Yes, okay. So sorry about that. Rude interruption by my kitties. So that's how it's been put together. Now, yeah, I do have some. I've got a couple of other things and to show you. Um, this is going to be a military version of the Eternal Glaze. I want this. I've taken the same shape. Um, I did have another stab at it. Didn't like how it was going, so cancelled that. I kind of cheated by taking this particular section, one half of that tunnel from the Eternal Glaze, because I like that. I think it's a cool shape, and I want it to be half. Um, and again, I'd already thought of this before he set the challenge. Um, Half was going to be uh, conventional, and half is going to be like the Eternal Glaze. I want to merge the two. So, the idea is they like their uniqueness, but they also they're practical as well. So that's why they've got a bit of an oddity. They've got their open, flowing way, which is kind of how they are as a species, but also have, they're practical at the same time. So for military, they know that Eternal Glaze is not going to be that good at all. um, so that's the premise of this. Uh, Now I have tried doing other stuff as well, one of which is a HV for this July challenge, which is this one over here. I thought maybe I'll try to mark to my Kavak tank. Don't particularly like how this is going, and I'll probably cancel it right there. This will never get completed, I think. It's I don't know. I think I've just gone past the point where I want to do any more Kavak stuff. Uh, Now this isn't for the July challenge at all. This is the latest SV I've been working on. I started in that survival um, in XCaliber's test server, and it's a T4. It flies really well, as you can see. It's got 5 plasmas, 5 rockets. Of course, this is only 70 max here, but you feel the acceleration a lot in space. So yeah, I like how this is going, but I don't know when I'll get around to completing this, but this should be a tankish SV when it's finished. So yeah, there we go. A sneak preview of 2 things which are in the works, those 2. And then this is the story essentially of how the Eternal Glaze got put together. I hope that's kind of been helpful to understand XCaliber in terms of how it's been done. It's the best I can say anyway. The problem is if I tried to stream putting something of this together, I don't think it'd work because I'm constantly stopping and starting. Like I'm not Jeff Randall. I can't sit down and build a whole skeleton in one sitting. um, like this first bit here, I wouldn't be able to do that every single time. I just in the groove and I just did a lot back then, and that was a good session. It could have gone 2 ways right to that stage. But the rest of it is stopping and starting. Like these points here, even when I was doing that bit, uh, I was watching YouTube and Netflix now and again, and I'll just go back in game and try a couple of shapes, wouldn't work. Okay, give it a bit more and go back to it. So I'm constantly stopping and starting. I don't always sit down and build it all in one sitting. If I tried to stream it, wouldn't be people would be frustrated. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Hope that's been interesting. Uh, Escali out. Have fun. Keep building or keep bashing. And I'll see you again.